Hello, everyone, and welcome to Outbound Wizards, a new show where we interview the best GTM engineers, lead gen agency owners, and outbound experts and go deep into their process with hot tips around targeting, segmentation, messaging, personalization, AI, so that you can take away some tips and implement in your cold outreach starting tomorrow. Today on the show, we have Lib, who's a GTM engineer at the Strongest Group. Welcome to the show, Lib.
Hey Saurav, and appreciate the invitation. Super excited to have a chat today.
Same. So let's get right into it. What does the strongest group do, and what kind of clients do you work with?
Absolutely. So, at Strongest Group, we are a sales agency, and we basically help B2B companies get more meetings. If you want to put it simple, but of course, there are a lot of different sides to it. We are based in Finland, in
Hmm.
Helsinki, and we have our local cold callers, which are doing amazing job booking meetings within Finland. But
Hmm.
also, we have now expanded our service and what we offer to other countries by enabling cold emails, LinkedIn, also enabling some inbound and RevOps plays. So
Awesome.
that's it
Very
basically.
interesting. So what industries or what type of companies do you focus on?
Yeah, I would say for us there are two type of customers which make sense. First of
Hmm.
all, both of those have to kind of be willing to scale, and they are actively looking to grow. And I would say
Hmm.
even like in an aggressive way, right? For us, it's important that those people have a sales team if they
Hmm.
want to do like international go to market, because
Hmm.
we do not kind of take care of the conversion of the leads. We can
Hmm.
only lead you to the interested replies, right? Sometimes even to booked calls, because we have people who could manage this. But it's important for us that they have a strong sales team with which we are going to collaborate during
Hmm.
the partnership. And for the second type of clients, it's more about we do the complete full cycle for them. We enable
Hmm.
our team members to answer to the emails, do the phone follow-ups, right, and book
Hmm.
calls, so that the founders, because they probably don't have the sales team, just focus on
Hmm.
selling and getting more customers in.
Hmm. Hmm. Absolutely makes a ton of sense. Okay, so let's try to make it a little more real for our listeners. Obviously, don't name the client if you don't want to, but what are some of the most creative campaigns you've run?
Oh, that's a great question. I actually we have an ongoing partnership with the client who sells the tennis hardware. So basically, they
Okay.
are selling the hardware for tennis clubs, which is certified by all of these international federations. So it's
Hmm.
very cool to use. You can see the replays. It shows you
Wow.
how you could have hit the ball better. It shows you all of the
Hmm.
statistics. So I would say it's not only for the professionals or geeks, but even for
Hmm.
ordinary people, because you would
Hmm.
definitely enjoy it if you play tennis, I
Hmm.
suppose. And so for this type of client, we have to do a lot of different manipulations inside Clay, for example, right?
Hmm.
So first of all, Google Maps integrations
Hmm.
come into place. As you might imagine, you do not find those people, for example, on LinkedIn or using
Hmm.
Apollo. So that's the first step where you already have to be creative.
Hmm.
For big countries like France, we've also tried, for example, scraping the federations, because
Yeah.
a lot of them contain the information about the club and
Hmm.
people. And then the next step, which has to be done in order to make this work, is to run a couple of prompts to do the massive research on the
Hmm.
tennis club itself. So we were looking for how many courts they have, how many
Hmm.
of those are indoor or outdoor, because
Hmm.
based on those, we could also personalize if they had the
Hmm.
renovation recently, if they host the tournaments, if
Hmm.
they also have the academy, and if yes, which sort of audience do they work with? Children or juniors, or they work more with like adults?
Hmm.
And based on those, we were creating really nice variations, not only for the first message but also for the follow-ups. So I would say
Hmm.
this is one of the most creative ones recently.
Yeah. No, lovely. I think this is what great segmentation actually looks like, right? Because you're able to take the entire universe, which is all these tennis clubs or
Yeah,
tennis courts, and then you figure out, okay, exactly what kind of message will resonate with them based on these 4 or 5 different criteria, right? Which was almost impossible to do before Clay. You could have done it maybe, with manual research, or hire a
yeah,
bunch of people in the Philippines to do this research. But I think this is
exactly.
the great time to be alive, where now it's just basically a cell inside Clay.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And also, what's interesting for different sort of clients, you also have different value prop. Even though your
Yeah.
hardware or product in and of itself doesn't change at all.
Mm.
Meaning, for example, if you're talking about tournaments heavy clubs, for them it's really
Mm.
cool to have this feature where they can do the replays. They have like ITF certifications, all of this
Mm.
stuff. While for academy oriented clubs, it's more about player experience. How
Mm.
do we make people happy and more engaged with our club? And that's
Yeah,
also very
yeah.
cool in my opinion.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think you just show that you understand their world a little bit better, which is what actually gets people to reply, right? And feeling that the
Yeah.
feeling that, this person who's sending me this email, he or she knows me, right? Which is what great messaging is all about.
Exactly, exactly. And it took us also a couple of tries. It would be not honest from my
Hmm.
end to say that we cracked it from the first time.
Yeah,
It took us also a couple of tries, but then we found a perfect balance between being super direct and talk about sales
yeah,
versus just being like more of the marketing email and talk about
yeah,
how cool it will be for your players, to
yeah,
have this
yeah.
system in
Absolutely.
place.
Absolutely. This is amazing. What else? I love sharing real stories, so I'm open to more.
Yeah. Also, one more case which is also being tested out right now. We are talking about PvP campaigns. So you
Mhm.
probably heard about Jordan Crawford and his approach.
Yeah, yeah.
So we are talking about personalized value propositions. And
Mm.
basically, in this case, we've been brainstorming this both with the team and by using AI as well, like what
Mm.
sort of value we could give to our prospects. And we
Mm.
decided that since we are located in Finland, a lot of companies, at least in Europe, they try to crack Scandinavia. They want to enter this
Mm.
market. So what we suggest them is that if you want to test us out, we could book you a couple of meetings from Finland with your target ICP by
Mm.
leveraging our SDRs. So we had
Mm.
to find, first of all, the companies offering who they work with. And based on this, we manipulated the data and found top three fits for
Mm.
this particular lead. Or
Mm.
if you don't want to talk to us, we could just send you the lead list and you could contact those people yourself. And
Mm.
right now we see like out of all replies, we see 60% positive reply rate because like it's
Wow.
very targeted, personalized, and people absolutely love it.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's one of the big things that people miss out on. Like when you're doing cold outreach, what you have to understand that this is a person who's a stranger, right? They literally don't know you.
Yep.
Most probably they haven't heard of you. So the only impression or the only feeling that you can give them is based on the offering, or the sharpness of the offering, or the sharpness of the value proposition, or the sharpness of the pain point language, which is what you did in the tennis example.
Yeah.
So having these kinds of micro offers segmented, and just like something like catnip, right? That's why it's called a lead magnet. It's supposed to pull you in, right? Like the magnet word
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
very
Exactly.
important. And if you can innovate on lead magnets, I think your cold outreach always will work better than the average.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you because maybe a couple of years ago, you could just maybe put one liner or two liner. I mean,
Mm.
it still probably works today, but not that well, where you just say, like, hey, we do X, would you be interested? I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
that's how it used to work, but in 2025, and I believe in next a couple of years,
yeah.
you have to be like more reliant on the research and actually finding what's like the right time for you to
Mm.
reach out to this person. So without the intent and context, it doesn't make sense to even try to target those people.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, so let's change gears a little bit and talk about your journey. How did you end up getting into this whole GTM engineering space? What was your path?
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's like super unique because
Uh-huh.
when I was 17 years old, I bought a couple of courses on how to build like the social media marketing agency SMMA.
Okay.
It was
Hmm.
a big topic like 4 or 5 years ago, and I
Yeah.
was like, cool, cool. Let me try this as well. If every like young person talks about it, then it definitely works.
The
So I
whole
was in
uh, the
this.
whole Iman Ghazi wave was just forming
Yeah,
at that point.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly, exactly. A lot of copycats as well, but yeah, it doesn't
Yeah.
matter. I found like a really good, let's say, agency academy. This is the
Mm.
biggest e-learning platform in Scandinavia when it comes
Mm.
to building your own agency, and
Mm.
definitely the program was nice, but something wasn't clicking for me. Maybe because of the language barrier. So
Mm.
I moved to Norway when I was 18 years old. At that
Mm.
time, I didn't speak the language too well. So when I was doing, for example, cold calling, probably that
Mm.
was the reason why I couldn't convert people to become my
Yeah.
clients. And one time in the Wins chat, you mean every community has it, like where people are sharing, okay, I signed a new client, here are the results we
Mm.
got for them. And there was one particular guy who was constantly like spamming, okay, 5K deal signed, 3K deal signed, here's another client. And I was like, if I don't ask him the question, I'll probably miss out on something, but if I
Yeah.
do, it will be fine. So I just asked him
Yeah.
like, man, what's your strategy, like how are you
Yeah.
winning? And it was 2023, and we
Yeah.
hopped on the call and he told me about this new kind of emerging agency model, which is you buy 10 domains, you get 20 email accounts, and
Right.
you write really good email copy. And
Right.
that's how like I started working with him. He taught me all of the
Interesting.
basics.
Yeah.
Yeah, and based on those I started running my own agency, and then I
Mm.
started collaborating with different go to market and cold emailing agencies, and I was doing sales for them.
Mm.
And this year in August, I joined Strongest Group. I decided that I want to like step out of being the account executive, being the sales
Yeah.
guy, and focus more on like GTM because that's where I believe I can
Mm.
get the most leverage.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. I think the whole instantly release changed this entire field forever, right? Instantly or smart lead, because it just made it so easy for you to just buy domains, and at
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
$50 per month or less, I think it's 37 or something, 37 per month, you're able to suddenly send like 5,000 emails a month, which is completely game changing, right? Now I think it is a little more expensive, given that you have to now send maybe 20,000 a month to get results. But yeah,
Yeah,
it is one of those products, like, I think in terms of innovation, I would say instantly number one, and then followed by
yeah.
clay, followed by everything else, right? So it's just like
I
completely
would
out of
agree.
the.
Instantly was the game changer for sure. And maybe
Yeah.
2 years ago, the entry barrier was lower just
Mm.
because the market wasn't that sophisticated. But
Yeah.
even today, I still think it doesn't take too much, like money wise, to
Hmm.
start sending cold emails. It takes more time to actually master the skill, master the
Yeah.
art of cold email, but also like how do you source leads, how you enrich them, etc.
Yeah. Yeah. And the segmentation, understanding of, sort of copywriting psychology and all of that, right? Like, for example, in that tennis example, it's one thing to
Definitely, definitely.
look, yeah, it's one thing to say segmentation. It's another thing to exactly think, okay, what segments are important? How do I use the segments in the messaging? And obviously, it takes a lot more skill to get to that level. But yeah, those are the steps.
Yeah, I agree, Saurav. And also, I would say it takes a lot of failures because
Yeah.
I had so many failed campaigns. I can't even
Mm.
count. Like throughout
Yeah.
these 2 to 3 years, I
Yeah.
failed multiple times, and I'm super proud of it because
Yeah.
those fails actually taught me a lot. I
Yeah.
had a lot of luck to have a person who could kind of make a breakdown of my campaigns and explain me
Mm.
why it went wrong. And based on those,
Mhm.
I could iterate, and then I added the clay layer, and finally it started working. So
Awesome. Okay, so now let's talk about your thoughts on the future. Obviously, this whole space has been changing very quickly. What do you think will happen to GTM engineering in the future? What are your predictions?
yeah, I feel that the hype kind of starts catching up, and the whole GTM space, GTM engineers, they start getting the recognition they deserve.
Mm.
That's my initial thought. And thinking about the future, I think that more and more companies will start understanding that the sales process doesn't start with your SDRs blasting the emails or
Right.
actually doing the cold calls. It starts more with the data layer, something we
Mm.
were talking about with you, meaning that you need to understand who your target audience is, and
Mm.
then also how you can segment them by the intent. That's where I
Mm.
believe the shift will go to. So focusing more on the data, right? The primary data, how we can segment, find really
Mm.
nice customers, and then only we start thinking about, okay, what's the best channel to use for us to get them as the client.
Yep, yep. Always strategy first, right? Like you can't just think in terms of, okay, I want to send 10,000 or like a million emails a month. What is more important is um, just setting up who is my customer, how many of those are out there, and
Yeah,
figuring out your angles, and then thinking of anything else, including the tools, right? So, which is always a mistake a lot of beginners make.
100%. And also the second thing, which like I noticed, is that sales teams are getting, I would say, tighter. They're getting smaller
Hmm.
in a way
Hmm.
that
Hmm. Hmm.
they're also getting leveraged. Because
Yeah.
if you have the guy who is doing the GTM for the company, I don't say that he replaces or she replaces everyone, but
Hmm.
each sales rep is getting now more leveraged. For
Hmm.
example, the startup we've been working with for the past like 6 months, those guys actually have like a founder who is doing the demonstration calls, like the demo
Hmm.
calls. He runs the sales calls, and they have only like one SDR who is replying to the interested leads that we generate, who
Hmm.
runs LinkedIn campaigns, and also he does the cold calling occasionally. And that's enough to
Hmm.
generate them enough demand and have this predictability in their pipeline, meaning that
Yeah.
in January and February 2026, they won't be starving of leads, they'll have
Hmm.
enough to handle.
Yeah, yeah. I think the secret sauce is you're giving them enough replies to work on top of. So
Yeah,
there is that leverage that you are also bringing to the table. So that's an unsaid factor. Obviously, that's a human factor. Okay, so let's
for sure.
look at some advice, right? So, what advice would you have for somebody who's getting started as a GTM engineer today?
Okay. If I would say if the person is already a GTM engineer and you, for example, you got your first job at the company, what I
Hmm.
would say is first of all, cut out all of the noise because
Hmm.
as the market is on the hype wave, as I
Hmm.
said earlier, it's very easy to kind of get into this bubble and thinking about, oh, I'm not good enough,
Yeah.
there are people which are doing like 100x crazier stuff than
Hmm.
I'm doing. And I mean, this could be true, but also it doesn't mean that you are a bad person or you don't have
Yeah.
the skills. I would say you need to focus on the basics. I mean,
Hmm.
starting from the technological stack, for example, use like 5 tools which you trust. Don't
Hmm.
try to bloat your technological stack. And then when it comes, for example, to the strategy, also stick to one particular strategy which been working for you in the past. For example, one of the plays which we enable for our clients is going after the followers of their competitors. So on LinkedIn, you
Interesting.
can scrape the followers right of your
Hmm.
competition, and that's been working for us super great for each client.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't
Hmm.
matter, it works really nice. So
Yeah.
why wouldn't you like place your bets on this strategy for the new upcoming project, right? So
Hmm.
if you can stick to a couple of strategies, a couple of tools, you'll be fine, and you won't get
Yeah.
into this bubble that, oh, I'm not good enough. Your confidence then will also go down, which
Yeah.
is bad, and your results, of course, will also tank.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. And I think it's one of those. I was actually talking about this with one other person who was on the podcast. It's almost like, you have these body image issues looking at people on Instagram with like six pack abs, and you're like, hey, I'm not
Yeah,
fit enough. I have not, done hard work enough at the gym. And you don't know what they're doing. Maybe they're just, better lighting, right? Like once they click a photo
of
like you,
course.
they look like you as well, right? But that's the thing about social media, right? It's supposed to the algorithms are designed to make you feel bad if you do if you're not careful enough. And in your professional life. That's the thing, right? Like, and maybe you don't need that, 100 step or 100 node init and workflow with like this crazy clay workbook with like 500 pages, right? That
Exactly.
actually ends up getting a 1% reply rate. So who knows, right? Like maybe the answer is just sticking to what you know.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And for example, I've heard some guys in this space, they started learning like how to code or how to like build some crazy workflows in
Yeah,
N810.
yeah.
Honestly, I couldn't care less, to be completely fair. Like,
Right.
I don't think that that's for me. I don't want
Yeah,
to go deep into this, and especially now, I believe the N810 released the MSP, right? So you
yeah,
can now
yeah,
write stuff, and it codes the things for you. So
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
don't even like
MCP.
want to go into this. Why
Yeah.
would I? Because I know there are a couple of strategies which work for me. They're
Mm.
timeless, so why wouldn't I use them? Why would I
Yeah.
create this like fake anxiety and being nervous about the things which don't impact me?
I think it's about the number of followers you have on LinkedIn. I think it's about
Yeah.
that, right? A lot of people post that they know the strategy doesn't work too well, but they know it'll get like likes and clicks and comments on LinkedIn, so they just do it, right? So that's the
Yeah, yeah, of course.
hype
Or
game,
some
I guess.
engagement pods, right?
Yeah,
You have some lead magnets. Here is the 100-step crazy N8 workflow. You
yeah,
get like thousand comments, right? But
yeah,
first of all, doesn't mean that it works perfectly.
yeah,
Secondly, probably like 0.01% will try to implement it.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
I mean,
Maybe
you're not
maybe
losing that
less than
much.
that. Less than that. Like
Yeah,
if 1,000 people comment, I would be amazed if even one of them tries it. So it's kind of crazy the numbers
yeah.
on that.
Yeah, I'm even
Awesome.
guilty of this myself. I mean, I opt in for a lot of lead magnets, but I maybe read one of them, like one out
Same.
of 10, barely.
Guilty. Yeah. Yeah. Guilty. Guilty. Awesome, man. Lib, this is fascinating. So, on that note, we'll wrap up for today. This was a lot of fun. For the people who want to find out more about you online, where can they find you?
Yeah, you can find me on LinkedIn, Flip Sorchak. I post pretty much every day, so trying to give value to the people, and I know some people like it. So my mission
Yeah.
is being fulfilled. And also on
Yeah.
YouTube, I also started posting like the workflows about
Yeah.
Clay, right? About
Yeah.
cold email, how to do follow-ups, etc. So if someone wants to check out, also just type in Flip Sorchak, and you'll find me.
Awesome. 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 Yeah, we'll let you go for today and wish you all the best for all your future campaigns.
Absolutely, it was a big pleasure.
Awesome. So we are done with